Hey everybody, Tim Mesa is on the club now. He's going to pitch out of the bullpen, and he's such a hot commodity that the Blue Jays just let him walk away last July. Good morning to you. I know, right? I'm sorry. They don't give you new material. Good morning to you. Good Tuesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way for some reason or another, bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or hockey, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Penguins, which, by the way, aren't any more uplifting these days. You see, the lowest of low-hanging fruit when it comes to any kind of baseball dialogue at any kind of time of year is right around now, January, and then the first couple of weeks of February, because bad teams are signing bad players to fill out bad rosters. That's what's lingering in free agency. And that's Mesa. You know, you can look at this a million different ways. He's a lefty, so he's not really 33 years old because lefties age differently. You can look at it and say, well, gee, he had a 6.33 ERA last year, but at the time that the Blue Jays cut him, that was 8.03, and then after he signed with the Yankees, he made 15 appearances and had a 4 ERA. He also had a 1.17 whip, and you can say, well, that's a lot closer to his career norm, which was 1.28, and you can twist yourself into pretzels here, convincing yourself that this is going to be a thing. However, know this. Mesa was signed to a major league contract for $1.15 million, which tells you two things. One, their 40-man roster is so bankrupt of talent as a whole that they can sell a 40-man spot to this guy at that price. You see where I'm going here? It's not just, oh, look, they signed so-and-so guy. Here comes the World Series. No, this player was signed to a real, live, all-out, guaranteed, no matter what happens in spring training and everything else, contract. And even in an environment where players like him never, ever, ever get more than a spring training invite, he got the whole thing. You know why? Because they have room for that. Have you looked at their bullpen? Have you done this? Have you allowed yourself to commit to the exercise of looking at seeing what that relief corps looks like right now? No, don't worry about it. I got you. We'll do it together, all right? But I warn you, you might want to clean the room out of everybody else who's in there because they're not going to want to hear all this in one sitting. Meaning these names. David Bednar, who everybody loved a couple of years ago whenever he was doing his thing. Last year, of course, was not him doing his thing. He is high atop this list. Uncertain as his status has to be considered. High atop this list. Colin Holderman comes next. Dowry Moretta coming off of Tommy John. Might be the next guy. Carmen Mlodzinski, who sometimes looked electric, sometimes looked like you didn't know what you were going to get. Caleb Ferguson, one of the three lefties that's been piled up here by Ben Cherington, is there. Ryan Barucki was just brought back last year. He had a good run. He also had his season cut short by surgery. And then there's Mesa. And then that's it. That's it. And you can say all you want. Well, they have all these golden arms coming up from the minors, and whoever doesn't start is going to be put into relief. That's not always a good idea. That's a great way to devalue an asset within your organization, not just in the immediate sense, but more so even down the road in terms of trade prospects and so forth. I'll give you an example here. Let's say Johan Oviedo, he's coming back from his own Tommy John, and let's say he shows really well in spring training. Do you want to just say, oh, well, you know, he's coming off of that injury. We have to make sure that we limit everything and we put him in the bullpen, or worse, we just need to put him in the bullpen because we think the bullpen's going to suck. That's that's a great way to make sure that you never get anything for Oviedo. Because by the time you cut him short, by the time you tell him, listen, we just need you to focus on 1 inning, 2 inning increments, you're changing him as a pitcher. And that, by the way, would apply to any of these younger guys, the Braxton Ashcraft, the Thomas Harrington, and so forth. Would they be thrilled to come into the majors to pitch out of relief? Sure, they would. They'd be getting big league paychecks. But no, you just don't do that. So what's your bullpen? For that matter, what's your whole roster? What are you doing here? What are you doing? Nothing has changed with this management team. Nothing has changed with their urgency. Nothing has changed with their approach. And by the way, I reported to you that they're expecting to end their season at $100 million in payroll. Now, their standard payroll right now hasn't even hit 80 million. And if there's some godlike figure out there that they can acquire with the snap of a finger and stick him in right field, I'm not aware of it. So, again, what are they doing? When we come back, J1Q.
It's Gun Storage Check Week. Help prevent unwanted access to your firearms. No one wants their unsecured gun to be used in an accident, a suicide, or a crime. Use lockboxes, safes, and locks to secure your firearms. Learn more at gunstoragecheck.org. That's gunstoragecheck.org. Brought to you by NSSF, the Firearm Industry Trade Association.
Today's J1Q comes from Richard Holman, and it's really well timed, I've got to say. Richard says, plain and simple, DK, it looks like a long year coming up, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. And you know, I'll occasionally hear from people who'll say, you know, your Pirates show, man, you're just saying the same stuff all the time. You're complaining. You're bringing up the same, you know, examples of things that the same people screwed up. To which I say to them, wholeheartedly, and I mean this is like from the depths of my soul, don't listen to this. I have no idea why anybody does. Look at who these people signed yesterday. Then go look at your calendar, Richard, and then go look at that 40-man roster, and then try to pretend that they're taking seriously the idea of putting a team together around Paul Skeens, who fell from the heavens to them. The clouds parted. And the baseball gods, who are really powerful gods, looked down and said, let's give these losers something. What are they going to do with him? I don't know. Just give it to them. And they did. And he comes up through the minors, exactly what everybody had expected. And he's healthy and he's a star and he's somebody who could sell tickets. Does nothing for these people. They don't have it in their DNA. They are not competitive people. If you took them bowling, they wouldn't care if you beat them. That's who they are. That's who they are, from Bob Nutting to Ben Cherington to Derek Shelton to everyone associated with all of these people. So what are we doing? Why are we talking about this? Why are you listening to it? I don't get this. And yet at the same time, we're still going to do another show tomorrow and you're still going to come back and listen. But you want to know something? In some twisted, demonic way, I love you for it. I'll see you tomorrow.